Well, 1365, I am going to go see your brother today and see what he still looks like. So I'm going to get a quick picture of your serial number tag just to see if they would happen to be consecutively serial numbered. And then other than that, I think we're set to go. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man, and today we are going indeed on a field trip to see this guy's twin brother, or so I had always been told, because they were at the fair at the same time and sold the same year. However, I did learn some interesting things, as I have already been there shooting this segment here. I just got back from the trip, so you'll get to see the footage, some of it. And I was really glad that I went, because I learned some things about the two of them that I thought was interesting. So here I will let you look at some of the footage of going to see the other 1365 at secret location S. It's the twin. Boy, it's in immaculate shape.
Pretty decent shape. It's clean.
That's pretty. It's even got the dealer sticker on it still. That's pretty neat.
Maybe just LED light.
Yeah, I should have got my phone. Let me go get that. Yeah, I was curious about it too, just to see. 714654. So this one is actually older than the other one. So I wasn't sure if they'd end up being like twins, you know, but because I was thinking that they
got them
about the same time. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, boy, it's in immaculate shape. It's got everything like this is long gone on that one I got.
Oh.
Yeah, little tin piece and just different. Like that was supposed to have a boot over it. And that explains why that bolt's loose, because that's where that ground clamped. They had her all stripped.
Okay.
I mean, it was pathetic at trying to sort this puzzle out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just blows my mind how much better shape this one's in than the other one.
It ain't real. It needs clean up. It'd been.
If you get that flitz, you could shine that up like new. I mean, it would. Oh, yeah. It'd look like new. But yeah.
See, I didn't get to wash it after we got done using it.
Oh yeah.
It quit on me, you know. So I just pulled it in here out of the way.
Yeah, it. But I did guess this right. The wiring does go underneath the injection lines, because I didn't know where to feed that. I couldn't get it. It was wanting to go that way, and then nothing was coming out in the right spot. And then I figured out if you went this way, then that put the heater wire here, and then this horn wire. I didn't have the horn. I just went to the auto parts store and got a horn. So I don't know. Maybe it is a funny sounding European horn. I don't know, but
it's loud.
Is it? And then this, see, they had this all. Your wires are not faded as bad either. So the flasher come out of there, and then that goes into here. So I need to check my harness and see there you got. Okay, that comes from over that way. I got that figured out. Mine, they cobbled this up. I'd say the original quit working, and they put in a Delco setup and just had the wiring all hacked up. So the new motor I got had the right alternator, and I went on the internet and I found a regulator that would work with this. It's not made like that anymore, but it's made for these, and it started working because the light goes out. So, but yeah, this is between this and some of those pictures that other guys have sent me, this really helps, because I would have had no idea. Trying to put all this back was about impossible. I mean, it's even got all your little
got the funky fuses.
German fuses. I had to order them. They're all supposed to be 8 amp, except for this one. It's supposed to be 16. So somebody's stuck in stuff over the years, probably. Or is that the way it was?
No, it's them.
Green and maybe they colored them different used to. I don't know, but it's the number 1 does this heater thing and the horn, and then the number 2 is all the gauges, and then the rest of the stuff is pretty well lights. And I had to sort all that out. And then this thing, I got that out of there, but I never did figure out, there's a screen in there, and I never did figure out how you could get the screen off of the thing to be able to clean the screen. Have you ever had that off of there? I thought maybe it all unscrewed, but I couldn't get, but see, usually when you put steel into aluminum, it doesn't ever come apart again.
Yeah, that's the reason that broke off. I just
Trying to get it to come out. I know, I had to clamp it, I think, around here and use a wrench, both, and you could get it to come loose, but...
you use channel lock, just take it off.
Yeah, it's even, you even got remnants of seat cushion yet. That's crazy. I mean, I think your seat is a little bit different too than mine. That's a different style, just a little bit. I've learned all kind of stuff about these, more than I ever thought I'd know, but... And then I see you did what another guy told me. He said, you got to tie the key to the dash or it'll fall out.
The wind will blow it out.
I know mine does not stay in until you get it like 2 or 3 clicks in. Otherwise, it's just not, it's like it's, I don't know. But yours still says Fiat on it.
That thing we have sitting out there running auger and come back turned on and the thing will, key will be gone and be laying on the ground. Yeah, we hooked the string to it 20-some years ago.
Yeah, that's neat. I mean, I'm almost to where I can drive it. I have to get, I'm waiting on wheel bolts I had to get. The hubs on this one I got is, they've wedged stuff that wasn't the right stuff in it and whatever. So I've tapped it out to 9/16 American thread. And that seems to like it'll work, but because every bolt on it is metric thread, so if you lose a bolt, you can't get nothing else in it. But that's pretty neat. You got the big battery in that sucker there.
Right?
Two of them.
Yep.
Yeah, see all my I don't have any hold downs anymore. Yeah, that's unbelievable how much better it is. But that's, I guess, a dairy farm tractor versus anywhere else. I mean, they use them pretty good.
Get it worked, I have to come back down.
Yeah, I got it started naturally without pulling it, but that's an unusual thing from everybody I've talked to. Said they got to pull it, and I think.
Well, I tell you what, that's what. Let's see.
The pump's on over here. But there's a pin they said you can push, like you push in on this and it changes the timing or something. When you push in,
on the keel?
It's got a pin that sticks out of the bottom of the pump. I didn't have any different results on that, but there's a bleeder. This bleeder here, I opened up and then just pumped it till it came out. And then, I don't know, a lot of crank it and then pump it some more and bleed it, and then I finally give it a little shot of ether and it fired up. But it was odd because most tractors, when you are cranking them and they don't run, they at least smoke. Well, this one didn't, and then all at once it took off and started running.
Yeah, see, we had, I guess it would have been this line, these 2 lines right here.
On the back of the filter there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I guess it had to be them. They was
flip-flop.
They was cross. And see, we always had the pull start this tractor. You couldn't hand prime it.
Really?
And start it. You just hook the chain to it and pull it and it'd start right up. Well, I had the pump rebuilt over at Interstate. Put it back on, and see, I never took that loose back here. So that was even dirty back there at the time. And I couldn't get that thing. I mean, we tried pull started, and couldn't get started.
Yeah, see, I think mine's the other way, because I think this line on mine is right up against the sheet metal, but
See, that's the way it was.
It wouldn't start.
And anyway, John from Scottsburg. He helps me out with my air conditioning. And I had him come down here and do some work with some of them. And I had that tractor sitting over here, and I said, hey, John, I said, you got time to look at this tractor? Now, the thing would run on ether, but it wouldn't run on diesel.
On diesel, yeah.
And anyway, he was buddies with that guy at Interstate, and he called him up.
And he said,
talking, and them two lines, that guy at Interstate said, well, them two lines.
Yeah, one's in and one's out, because they got arrows on them, you know.
Yeah, and John said, he said, well, they haven't been, he said, they're dirty. He said, they ain't been replaced, they ain't been changed. I told him, I said, no, I said, I never took them loose. I mean, they ain't. We swapped them.
I fired right out.
Used a hand primer and I fired right out.
That's interesting. Maybe they were all put together wrong then. I don't know. Because I looked at that because they got arrows on those things, because it's kind of odd how it comes from the tank, which they put it on that side. So it comes all the way around, and then it goes into this transfer pump, and then it leaves here and goes into the filters, and it goes out of the filters, but it goes from the filters to the return, and it goes from here to the return. So you got two places, you know. And then, I don't know, this thing, it took me forever to figure out all that. I don't know if it really works or not, but that little fire starter thing, you ever use that?
Turn the key backwards. It works. It makes a difference in the wintertime.
Because it starts a fire in there is what it does, you know.
Yeah,
and
heats it up.
But you got to have fuel in here for that to do it, because it drips like through there. Yeah, that blows my mind how much better shape it is. The other one, because it's only got what, 4,800, and the one I had 5,400 hours, and it looks like it's got 10,000 hours compared to this. I mean,
yeah, this tractor. Well, we used to pull 3-bottom pile with it some. And then we used to pull a hay conditioner with it and hay.
It probably run forever on fuel. I mean, on the.
Yeah. All it's done the last 20 years is run auger.
That's pretty neat. I mean, because it's about as original as they come. I mean.
Yeah. I don't know.
And they were.
I ain't had. I've been pretty low maintenance free thing.
Yeah, it's and they plumbed the loader back into the transmission top. So yours.
I do run Mercron in there instead of 75.
Oh, really?
And you know,
I just put in like premium hydraulic fluid. I don't know if that makes a difference, or is that what it says in the book? I probably.
No, see, we always fatten cattle out in the wintertime. Well, I had a loader on here before I had a skid loader.
It's real slow.
It was real slow in the winter. And now, once it run for a while, you had to speed up then. And I don't remember who Dad talked to, but he said, put the Mercron in there. He said, it's a lot thinner. He said,
well, and then, no, because it's running in the transmission, so, you know, that don't hurt nothing. But. Yeah, I've had that too. That's
right now.
Wintertime, and tractors don't really mesh, but you don't have a choice, you know. Yeah. So, and I wish I hadn't. When I build a loader tractor, I wish I would have just got a gas tractor and put a loader on it, because the diesel, it seems like by the time it finally warms up, you're done with it, you know. Yeah, that's amazing. I can't believe that. That goes to show, if you take care of something, how different it'll turn out. I mean,
if I can just get this to start now, it'd crank like heck.
You did the same thing I did, though. You got a different starter for it, huh? Is that a different one, or is that? Maybe that was the later style then.
That's the original starter. It is probably, I'm going to say it's probably been off and rebuilt. I'm pretty sure I took that off once.
And then that was another thing. I guess that fuel line from the pump, where does it go through? Does it go through under here and go over to the other side? Because I sure couldn't figure that one out. Mine, somebody sawed this off and it sticks out here, and I just got a rubber line on it now, but it goes.
That one there goes
Okay,
up.
well, that's not it then. That goes to the filter.
Yeah.
It's the one that comes in. There it is.
Yeah, it's got a
Rubber line.
on it.
Wonder where it makes its exit to. It's way back in there, and I guess against the block. It's got to go. Probably there it goes up under the front of the fuel tank, I bet. Maybe. Or is there a channel in the? I bet there's a channel in this. Yeah, see, it's on the other side. I know that. It comes out at the back of the other side. It's so weird. Why wouldn't you put it on the same side that you put the injection system on, you know? But they didn't do that. And then there's a plug under the center of the fuel tank, and it says in the book to always empty that out every time you put a tank of fuel in it. Well, how could you get it without taking the fuel tank out, you know? That kind of stuff, like somebody wasn't thinking there. On the other side. That's where it's like it's just, yeah, and that's where the hose goes into. But I run it out here because my tank has been off so long you could see it had trash in it and stuff. So I put evapo-rust in it and let it sit for 4 or 5 days, you know. And then when I went to use it, I thought, I'll just put another little clear filter in for the first good bit so I could watch and see, you know, that no trash is coming in it.
You got a metal tank or plastic?
Metal tank. Yours plastic? Maybe that's this one's later. Maybe they changed to plastic later. Because I'm surprised. I thought that they would be, like I said, mates, but I think that's a metal tank.
It sound metal.
Looks like it's soldered there, so yeah, I bet. But the replacements you'd get would be plastic. Because I know you can get new. You can get almost any piece for this new. Because they are, see, the Fiat made them for Alice Chalmers. Same tractor painted orange, like a 6060 or something. It might have a little different sheet metal on it, but it's basically the same. And then they made them in like Romania or whatever they had. So you can get, but I have noticed some of the stuff is not just great quality to put on, you know. I was missing that air cleaner cup in the front there, and I ordered a brand new one, and I worked forever to try to get that thing to go on there, and I finally got it on, and it still didn't fit right, and I bent the little clips while you were folding it over, and I finally found the original at a salvage yard the other day, and I got it, and it just goes right on perfect. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's got the oil bath up there on
yeah,
that.
that's what mine did too, but I had a heck of a time. Just so I never looked. Does this one have clamps? Some of them had clamps and some had a screw deal, but I think these, yeah, this is just like mine with clamps, 2 clamps. And then this was so full of dirt, and this pre-cleaner, I spent I don't know how long cleaning that out. It was packed solid full of, I'd say the other motor must have had a tremendous amount of blow-by or something, because it was packed in there. It felt like it weighed 30 pounds, you know, and you kept, but yeah, that's pretty interesting how much better it is. I'd see it out there every so often, you know, but I've always heard that they were mates, that they were at the fair at the same time. Now, maybe I'm wrong about that, but maybe they just came from 2 different places when they ordered them or something, you know, but.
They come see me and Randy, these classmates, and I know they got him.
Yeah.
They got him at the same time.
Huh. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Like I said, shine on that. The grill was, I seen it like sitting over there.
Now, does it look identical?
No. Well, but see, I don't have the original one. They said they didn't know what happened to it. This is the later style one, because the original one, the one I got, has like a checkerboard pattern inserts in it.
It's more rounded too. It ain't.
No, it's the same shape, but this piece and this in here are different.
I was thinking something on it was different.
I'd like to find that other one. They said they thought it was laying around there somewhere, but I've never followed up on that. I need to. Yeah, even this is the one I got. I found one at the salvage yard, but it looks like it'd been on a tractor that'd been through a fire, and so it didn't have no paint on it, and it was dented. But you can't find a good one. Yeah. I found one the other day, and I messaged the guy, and he said there's one guy ahead of me, and he was going to let me know, see if I can find that picture real quick. But I hope that other guy doesn't take it, because I don't think you'll ever find one as good as, I probably won't get it now. Let's see here. That's how mine looks. But,
yeah, I remember that. That's the way that's the way theirs was.
Oh, this bottom piece probably has something to do with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All I do is just pick it up, set it on there, and
Let's push that down here.
down, and then turn it to where it's pointing like that. And
it locks in there.
Yep.
Yeah, man, a loader on it, and it ain't even got a wrinkle in it. I can't believe that.
There's one little. I think there's one little. Yeah, right here. Dad put that in one time.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I got a muffler, and they sent the wrong type of thing, so I don't know. It had a real. The bottom piece of it was like this long, and it stuck way up, and so I sawed that off about like what this is, but.
Yeah. I put the curve on there.
Yeah, they
had a platform. And see, we ground feed with this tractor if we didn't. See, back years ago, we planted corn we had a 4-row planter. We planted with a 30-20 John Deere. Well, if we was planting with it, then this went on the grinder then, the cow feed.
Okay.
Well, I backed the grinder in the tractor in the shed in the barn. You know, and they had a loft on top, you know. And I didn't like that.
Yeah, see, that's what we did too with the loader tractor when we'd clean it out, put the elbow on.
Yeah.
So we always had it sawed off, because ours had a real long top on it, on a John Deere. And he'd saw it off where you could just get that elbow on, so it pointed out the door instead of.
Yeah.
But I wonder, does the
horn work?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find me an original now, because that sounds like a foreign country there. We gotta have, but that's pretty neat.
You've got a hammer holder there.
Yeah, in that seat rack. Yeah, that's for. Now yours ain't got, or does it? And okay, it's got the old screw style.
Yeah.
Hydraulic outlets on it.
Yep.
And I wondered, that must have been the original. On the one I got, they put the Pioneer style on. And the holder fits in there good, but I didn't know, what's supposed to be. But I'd say that was the original stuff right there.
Yep.
And I'm missing this. I gotta find one of these.
Oh.
I don't know what they would have done with it. It's probably laying there doing something other there. It's hard to say, but.
If you can't get these lights to work on the fenders.
Gotta
go to the ground right there.
Okay.
That'll be your problem. Take that thing off there, shine her up.
And it'll go right.
Man, I don't know how many
well,
times that's been the problem.
I got, I think, one light left on it and one red light, and that's all that's left on it. So I need that's the next step. I got all the wiring to the, that's why I wanted to see this one, to see what color wire went to that flasher, because I don't have, but.
They're all original. None of them lights are bad.
I know that's the way it's supposed to be, because mine's even got these little brackets. And but anyway, you can tell on them. See, they added, I think if you had this in Europe as a Fiat or whatever, instead of having these here, they would have been up on the grill, and that was the European way. But in America, they've moved them up here. So one light has its own. There's one tube that runs back with one wire in it, and I figured that was probably for these two, but I might be wrong. It might be maybe the yellow one goes here and the blue, I don't know. But yeah, they see, there's the single one by itself, but I don't know which light it's going to. But anyway,
yellow goes here.
It's actually green.
Green goes to that.
To the flasher. Yeah. Okay. So, and then this one's like blue, black. I can't see color very good. Well, hey, that looks green too, don't it?
Yeah, it's probably blue. That's probably faded. Okay, that's blue. Yellow on the front, and then green, and then blue last year.
But I spent, I don't know how long looking at that I got that book and their wiring diagram. And the problem is, at first I thought, well, this is so stupid. Well, it's because they did it in their language, and their words for the colors start with something else. So like yellow is G, and you'd have to look, and then if you wanted like yellow and black, it would be like GN, and then it would be blue would be L, and it was a heck to sort that out. And I kept thinking, now what am I? And then one guy told me, he said the Italian words for like yellow started with a G or something, and black was Nero and something, and so that's why it was. But boy, trying to sort that out after somebody hacked on it was a real trick. And you know, and then having been apart for 20 years or whatever, well, I mean, not 20. It's been at least 11, because I think I got it 11 years ago. And I don't know how long before it apart, because they had...
I hadn't seen that tractor do anything for years.
You got to get on YouTube and watch some of the videos I made of it. Oh, yeah, I got a whole channel full of Oliver videos and stuff, but you got to look at the videos at the back of that block that came out of there. See, what killed it was because of that PTO lever, you know. Guys had run with it up instead of shifting that thing to neutral and then putting it back down, you know. Yeah. Well, it run up so long that it shoves everything forward and it eats the thrust bearings out. The back of the block on that thing was gouged into. I have never seen something like that. It ate the holder where the rear main seal was wore about half through. I mean, it's unbelievable how much it ate in there, and that they wouldn't notice it had a problem before that point, because wouldn't it have made a heck of a no? I mean, it had to be grinding and all kind of stuff. I mean,
yeah. So we always take ours and put it neutral and put that down.
And that's the way you're supposed to. You're supposed to just use that long enough to shift it into whatever position and then put it back down. Yeah. You know, because that is what'll kill them, is running it with that up. And
see, now you can put it in a neutral with the tractor running.
The the PTO.
Put it, engage it.
Yeah. Down there. And I guess is this on? I don't remember.
Yeah.
That way's on.
Should be that way. That's the way it's pointing now, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on. We just unhooked it from the auger and pulled it in here.
Yeah, but I know you don't want to leave them up like that, because that'll cause your problem, man. I mean, I always knew that was possible, but I never seen something like that. I could not believe that it ate it up that much. I just got a different motor, and that was the way to go. I mean, because there wasn't enough left of that other one it wouldn't have been worth it, which is why they didn't fix it. They said, you know, they would have had, paying somebody to do it, they would have had 3 times as much in a tractor that wasn't worth it, you know, at the time. These were not bad ones, but some of those earlier Fiat ones were just garbage, and I think it gave them a bad name and nobody wanted one, but these really were pretty good. I mean,
this is probably the last of the Olivers that was sold around here. I mean,
yeah, this would have been like probably a 74 or something. So I know our 1655, Grandpa wanted a gas one because he didn't like diesel tractors. He had got the hiccups one time from driving a diesel tractor, I guess, breathing the smoke or wasn't used to it, and so he never wanted one. So he bought one. Hank Bob told him that they were going to quit making the green one, so if he wanted one, get it now. And he said, well, I want a gas one. And they looked all over and they found one and transferred it in there, and he wanted it with a narrow front, so in case he'd have to put it in the corn picker, he could, you know. It never did end up going in there, but the build card I got, it was shipped to Fort Wayne, and so it must have been sitting at a dealer up there, and then they swapped it in and traded around. But yeah, that was it. 76 was the last green one, and then they all were silver. Yeah.
I want to say Dad got this either 74 or 75, because then he got that tractor in 76.
Oh, really? The case, you mean? Yeah, because see, they switched to that too, or did that at the same time as the silver ones, kind of. Yeah. Because I got pictures where they're side by side, the case and the silver ones, you know. But I don't know how that all played out. But you did see a lot of them around, those cases like that.
Tell you what, Hank Bob sold a lot of
he could sell a lot of anything. And that's like these, that story I heard, the Olivers, one year, Oliver said if you could sell so many more tractors than you did the year before, you get like a free trip to Hawaii. So he went around to everybody he'd sold one to the year before and traded them, and then, you know, he ended up selling a few more and got a free trip. But yeah, he.
I I remember he used to be down Dad's always.
That's what like Grandma was always aggravated when he'd come in, because he'd be there forever until you'd finally buy something, and he'd come back every day. You know, if you put the word out that you wanted something, he'd be there every day till you bought it. And Lynn Eggersman told me once years ago, he had a little Cockshut 20. I don't remember if you remember him having that, but anyway, he said he knew who had that tractor. It was, you know, somebody else owned it. And Lynn said, he said, I told Hank one time, he said, if that guy would ever sell it, he said, I'd like to have that. He said the next day he'd come home, it was sitting in his driveway. He'd went over there and sold that guy something else, and then he brought it over, and that was it. So, but that's something else. I mean,
tell you what, Hank, I was pretty little when Hank was around, but he was a salesman. They don't have salesmen like that.
No, and the other thing that they had going for them used to was they would take about anything on trade. You know, if you had chickens or a cow or whatever you wanted to trade, they'd take it. And in some ways, I mean, that satisfied you, because you thought you were getting your deal. They probably had it where they were getting the upper hand, but you at least felt like you were getting a good deal. Yeah. And then, you know, everybody was happy. And he told someone else, someone told me, he said by the time, if he'd trade 4 or 5 things around, he said, by the time you're done, the last one's free. He said, it's all profit. He said, I got nothing in it by the time you're done, you know. So, I don't know, but that's pretty neat. This explains a lot looking at this, but this one's actually older than, yeah, is that right, what I said? Yeah, because mine's a 7.2 something. And this, but, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, if you need to look at it, come on down, it's where it'd be 7.
Yeah, wax that up, it'd look like a new one. It'd probably worth more now than it was when it was new. I don't know. Wonder what they cost when they were new.
Don't remember what Dad gave for it. I can look it up.
I know our 1655 was 10,000 even was what they give for it, and it didn't have. I don't remember what it was equipped with that he bought, but I think one front weight or setup or whatever, and no wheel weights or something. But it was 10,000 even. So I don't. But I would bet this was probably 7 or 8 or 9, wouldn't you? I mean,
I would. I doubt very much it was 10.
Now this one's got what kind of brand loader is that on there?
Kelly.
Okay.
Got it from B&T.
Did you get it later then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because see, the one that I got had at one time an Oliver loader on it, but I don't have the loader, but it's got the brackets still on it because they bolted to the final drives, and then it's got kind of like this one does on the front, a U-shaped piece that the front of the loader bolts to, but I don't know whatever happened to that loader, but I'm not going to put it back on because
I ain't used loaders for
years.
30 years. Ever since I got the first skid loader.
Yeah, that's a lot more easy to get in places and something like this, but I don't know. I've got 3 loader tractors, and there's sometimes when you got to have them all to get done what you're doing, especially if you're doing it by yourself. But yeah, that's something else. Fender radio, we had one of them just identical. That must have been the 1970s special right there.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty.
Yeah, it'd been on there too, because I don't remember I'm sure Dad didn't put it on there.
Old timers didn't really go for that, listening to the radio doing it, you know.
Cultivating corn with it and plowing. I listen to the radio or raking hay.
Yeah. That's interesting, though, to see the differences, because like that grill even, I wonder when they...
I always remember the front end looked different.
And I don't understand why, if this one's older, why it's got that style grill on it. That puzzles me too, because I would have thought that was the later one, because that's the one that you can get now. You can buy a brand new one, but it's like that. You can't get the one like what I got. But yeah, unless they maybe they were running short and they just grabbed one and painted it up and sent it over here, you know, because that's like what the Fiat grill would look like if you bought it in Italy. It would have had that grill on it, you know. And I don't know what I don't know that I've ever seen one, whether they were red or whatever. I know underneath the green is gray because I see a lot of gray on mine, but I don't know what a Fiat was. And then see, like those Heston tractors, they were Fiats. You ever see one of them? Like at, what's his name out there at Kurtz has one. He had Oliver's too. I can't think of that guy's name right as you come into Kurtz. But anyway, he had one of those Heston tractors, and that's the same thing underneath too, a Fiat. But the sheet metal on it's real boxy, and they were that reddish color like a Heston, you know. But that's what, yeah, all made by Fiat. So that's pretty neat. But I always heard that these were, and I might be wrong on that too, but I thought these were the only two of these Fiats that they sold. Now maybe I'm wrong. That's what I thought too. I've never seen another one around, but by now you never know. I mean, somebody could have drug one in, but how stiff is it? I got to do some work on mine. It don't move like that. You got to put a crescent wrench on it back here and get it to. So I don't know what's in there, but I guess I'm going to find out. That handle's really. They should have made it more stout. It's just a piece of sheet metal.
Yeah, but it ain't very strong.
Well, that's pretty neat. It's even got a center cap in the steering wheel, huh? Yeah. Did that say something on it, or have it? I guess it probably had an Oliver decal on it, didn't it? Okay, so I thought that was pretty interesting to look at that tractor, as I had always been told it was the twin brother to this one. However, looking at the serial numbers, the other one is much older than this one. However, they were both made in 1973. This one starts with 721 and the other one starts with 714. And so they're both in 73, I think, if I'm not speaking out of wrongly, I guess, because I'm doing it from memory. But I think 75 started with like 725 in the serial number. So they made a pretty good amount of them, it looks like, in 73. And I was wondering, just for interesting sake, that they wouldn't be like, you know, next door neighbors, that the serial numbers would be consecutive, but they're not. Another thing that I found interesting right away, which you saw on there and we talked about a little bit, was the difference in grills. Yes, this grill did not come off of this tractor, but this is the style grill that it had on it since new. And that guy said the same thing. He said of the two of them, this grill on this tractor that I have was different. And I thought that was strange because this one is newer than the other one, and it has this Oliver-like grill on it. And the other one has a different grill that's more like what you can still get today, the reproductions, which I always thought was the later grill. So maybe it's possible that when they were at the dealer, the grills got switched before it ever, you know, they got sold and nobody cared or said anything. But anyway, I thought that was interesting because I always thought that this grill came first because it was to mimic like the Oliver front end, cast iron Charles City front ends. But anyway, I found that interesting, and I found it interesting how nice his grill was, you know, not beat up. Really, the whole tractor. I said that several times in the footage. I don't know if I left all of it in or not, but it was amazing to see how two tractors sold the same time. I mean, if not the same you know, week, just not too far apart, because they were both at the fair, and I'd say that both of them bought it in a reasonable amount of time thereafter. And you can see a definite difference from a tractor that spent its life working on the dairy farm with a loader, pretty hardcore, I guess, every day, versus another tractor that probably did not do as much loader work. And definitely later on in life, he said the tractor never did any loader work. He hadn't had the loader on in 30 years, he said. So, but it just blew my mind how good of an original tractor that was. Like I told him, if we put the flits to it, we could have got their tractor, I think, to look like a new one. I mean, I may go back and help him get it started. He said he can't get it started, so he's got air in the system or something, probably like what I struggled with when I, you know, was working on it. So we will maybe go back and visit it again, but it really kind of blew my mind. I do want to say thank you to other people, though, too, because there's been several people who've sent me pictures of their 1365's to help me see the routing of things, you know, and that has been very helpful. And I've seen some very interesting pictures. There are a lot of these tractors out there that are still in great shape, just like the one we just looked at today. A guy sent me a picture of his the other day. He said his grandpa bought new, and it was the same way. I think if you'd wax it, it would look like it was, you know, right off the showroom floor. So, very interesting to see, you know, but the different conditions of things. It's amazing to me, because like I said, these two tractors were at the same place at the same time when they were new and sold, and they have had very different lives. I mean, this one, poor thing, it was destined for the junk heap, and then I came along and couldn't let it die. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how far I can take this. But anyway, I did like to hear his horn. I don't know if I have that on film or not, because I figured it was a European style sounding horn, and I couldn't find one, so my horn sounds like this. So it's just whatever horn I could find at the auto parts store. But interesting to see it, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, like I said, I'm glad I went to look at it, because it helped me figure out some other things with the wiring and different things that, you know, you can look at pictures or wiring diagram, and seeing it in person really helps drive it home where stuff goes. So, but anyway, I'm puzzled of the grills now. Maybe somebody knows more about that. Maybe they weren't very particular at the factory and they just slept on whatever. I don't know, but, you know, maybe that other tractor had this grill on it at the dealer and somebody accidentally ran over it or something and they put that other one on. I don't know. You know, who knows? It's just all the guys that I could ask are gone, so there's nobody I could ask about it. But from all the stories I ever heard, those two tractors are as close to brothers as you can get, because they were at the same place at the fair the same year and sold at about the same time. So another thing I noticed that I thought was interesting was he had a different style seat than what I have. And in the parts book, there were several different styles, 3 different styles to my knowledge of seat. And I don't know what this one was called. This is not the deluxe seat. There was one that had like cushions and a seat back, almost like the Charles City tractors. But I'd like to find a cushion that fit in here, and it was just the cushion sat in there and then was held to this with like a piece of rubber molding like you see. And I wish I could find one that fit in there, because, you know, you can get the whole seat assembly and suspension new, or, you know, Chinesium, but this one still says Oliver on the back, and I don't know. I wish I could just find a cushion, is what I'm saying, but whatever. Well, as always, thank you for watching. If you like my videos, give them a thumbs up, you know, leave a comment. All that stuff helps the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.